Okay, hello everyone. Okay,
นมัสการหลวง
so
พี่
Sadhu Jalanpon. So now it's time for our class, the history of the Buddha. Okay, first you're ready now. Just relax your minds and body and let us pay respect to the Triple Gem. Arahang Samma Sambuddho Bhagavaংพุทธังภควตังอภิวาเทมิสวากขาโตภควตาธัมโมธัมมังนัมมัสสามิสุปฏิปันโนภควโตสาวกสังโฆสังฆังนามามิ นะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะ พุทธังธัมมังสังฆังคุณุตรังอุปัชฌายังนามัสสามิ Okay, so may I respect to all Long Pi, and or everyone, the Nak Tham student. So this week, just another week, we're going to keep in touch with the history of the Buddha. Hopefully everybody is doing well. So I came into the class before and I have observed you're studying the Vinaya, and today is about the precept number 5, right? So Ajahn Samran. So he's one of my teacher when I was studying at the MCU Buddhist University. He's one of the very a wonderful teacher, actually. So I learned a lot from him. So he's an ex-monk. Hopefully you enjoy studying with him. So our class today, I would like to spend a little bit time to recap our previous lesson last week. So Last week we talked about the journey to enlightenment and after how the Buddha spends and dedicates his time 6 years looking for the path to enlightenment. And he finally found the way and the middle path and that lead him to uh, the cessation of suffering. So this week is going to be another chapter that after he achieved enlightenment and what he did at first before he decide to propagate the teaching. Okay. So all right. So let's take a look at the previous chapter. Okay, the screen's on now. It's okay, right? Okay, so last time we talked about uh, the journey to enlightenment. So when he first met the Bimbisara and make a declaration that after achieve enlightenment, please come back and teach me. So and then he went to study with the two great teacher at that time named Alada Dabasa and Uddaka Dabasa, who are very well known, are very famous at that time. But he found that those teachers couldn't provide him the answer how to overcome the great suffering of life. So he learned and he finished all the subject. That's two of these great teachers no longer have anything to teach him. But he still find that this is not the final answer. And he left the teacher and find out the way to practice by himself. And then he practiced the extreme asceticism by torture one's own body and punish and practice self-mortification. That he gains a lot of extreme suffering. But he found that that is not the way that led him to realize the truth. Even though how hard he tried, still his body became very skinny and he stopped eating food for a long time. And just a metaphor that's appear in his mind that's remind him about the path that he practicing. That if one person mind still indulgent with pleasure or sensual pleasure, one would never able to achieve enlightenment. No matter how hard he try. And the same way, even though a person who already give up, we can leave from the sensual pleasure, but still um, think of their mind still indulgent with sensual pleasure, that also would not be able to achieve enlightenment. Comparing like the wood that's and the fresh wood that's with the resin, even though already take away from the water. So it wouldn't possible to rough and to build a fire. But if the dry wood placed on the land far away from water, it's dry, then it would be possible to build a fire when the person rough the woods. So similar to his practice, he found that the um, physical training, like stop eating and torture one body, that is not the way that leading to achieve enlightenment. And it's the moment that he discovered at the middle path. And at that time, the Panchavakkhiya who served him while he was practicing the self-modification uh, abandoned him, leave him because uh, seeing that, oh, he already gave up his effort. No, he would not be able to achieve enlightenment. And then five yogi, five Panchavakkhi just left him. Yeah. And now he have his time, and he realized that the way this asceticism is not work, and he gave up that's practice, and he start to eat strong, had a strong food to recover his body. So when his body back to usual, so he began to focus on the training the mind by making strong efforts, receiving the offering uh, food from the lady named Sujata. So after he ate and he went to the riverbank and make a strong determination that even though his blood, his body becomes shrines and remain only bone and skeleton, he wouldn't leave from his seat until he achieved enlightenment. So, and then the night before he achieved enlightenment, and he confront the Mara or the evil one. He's trying to distract his meditation. Is coming up like and frightening an army and to distract his meditation. So the Mara was afraid that he will go beyond his power. So he trying to stop and distract him. But because of he have accumulated the 10 perfection that's a long time ago. So with that empowerment, it's allow him to be overcome the army of the Mara. And finally, there's a separation, or there's a state of his enlightenment. Mentioned the first watch of his enlightenment, he was able to achieve the we call Pupesa, Pupe Niwasa Nusatiyana, is the ability to record the past life, we call past life, past countless life of himself. So seeing that his life rebirths and die, rebirth and die, many countless life. And then another level, the second watch of his enlightenment, he gained the superhuman knowledge called the divine Tipachakuyana or Jatupapadayana, the knowledge of the disease of rebirth of all beings caused by their karma. Some do good, some do bad, and they're reborn in different realm of the beings caused by their own karma. And the last periods of his enlightenment, and he achieved one of the supernormal knowledge called Sawakaya, Sakwakayanyana. It's the ability to able to eradicate the mental defilement completely away from his mind and become the awakened one and the Buddha. So this is the purest time that we discussed last time about how he train himself and practice. So this week, we're going to okay, so move to another chapter, and chapter number 6. All right, everyone. And so we are going to be exploring the next chapter, chapter 6. So this chapter is about after he achieved enlightenment. So in Pali we use the term Patama Bodhi Gala. So Patama means the first, or primary of first. So Bodhi means awakening or enlightenment, and Kala means a time or period. The first period after enlightenment. So after the Buddha, he achieved enlightenment. He achieved enlightenment. He spent some time to revise his knowledge, to review what he discovered, and to make a decision to teach the people. So he spent 7 days in Vimutti Sukha under the Bodhi tree. So Vimutti Sukha is happiness from liberation. He immersed the bliss of emancipation under the Bodhi tree for 7 days. So for 7 days, he remained and sat under the Bodhi tree and consider about the Paticca Samuppada. Is one of the very profound Dharma that he discovered, or the dependent origination. Dependent origination. So he considering with the reverse and inverse goes and back from round one round in both the rising part depending on the ignorance arise the karma formation, depend on the karma formation arise the consciousness, and etc. And on and on. So this Paticca Samuppada is one of the most profound teaching in Buddhism. So it's mentioned about the arising of the things that how things called the suffering and dukkha happen in life. So it's normally start from ignorance. So ignorance is it's like an original. It's always begin from ignorance, like the dukkha, pain, the suffering, and this kind of ignorance or blindness lead to the formation or sankhara, and formation lead to the consciousness, vinyanang. Sankhara paccaya vinyanang is called the consciousness, and consciousness lead to name, nama rupa. Nama rupa is name or name and form. And from nama rupa lead to the six senses. Six sense. Salayadana, the external sense and internal sense, like eyes, ears, nose, tongue, touch, like form, sound, smell, taste, touch, and that's leading to contact. Contact leading to vedanas or feeling, into tanha, the craving, and lead to the clinging, upatana, and becoming of bhava, jati, birth, and aging, death, and leading to sorrow, suffering, and become the fuel of the ignorance again. So this is Paticca Samuppada. He considering about this for 7 days about what he discovered. Okay, so the following week, the second week of his enlightenment, so the Buddha, he spends 7 days under the tree. named Ajapala Nikroda. So this tree, the Buddha went there. So under this banyan tree, he had remained in the happiness of nirvana for 7 days and gave sermon to a brahmana who always shut it to somebody else, and saying that the person who abandoned evil and defilement called shouting at somebody else, should say oneself was right, brahmana. So at that time, this brahmana just questioned to the Buddha, what is the true characteristic of pramana, who are called pramana should have. And the Buddha mentioned that the true pramana should not commit an evil, and the true pramana should abandon evil and abandon the defilement, and should not shout to somebody else, to make them fear or frightened. So that is the second week, while the Buddha, he spent his time immersing his happiness under the tree, the Ajapala Nikoda tree. So at the second week, the second week of his immersing, there were the daughter of the Mara, trying to bring him back to the sensual world. Now, it is said that these three daughter of the Mara is the daughter of the Vasawati Mara, who trying to disturb him and break him from achieve enlightenment. And now his daughter want to come to trying to test him after he achieved enlightenment. So at that time, these three daughters so came to the Buddha and tried to lure the Buddha back to the trap of defilement. So it is said that this daughter of the Mara, so they thought that all men in this world, so whatever they are monk or whoever, so they must like certain kind of woman. So they just like perform, to create a temptation for the Buddha. So the first daughter of the Mara named Tanha, Tanha, and the second one's named Raka, and the third name of the daughter of the Mara is already. So these three trying to come and perform their beauty to lure the Buddha, but the Buddha that time's already free from all defilement. So he just he wasn't interested in these three daughter of the Mara at all, even though they such a beauty woman. So they just give up and fail to learn the Buddha. And at the third week of his enlightenment, he spent 7 days under the Majulinda tree, or the Indian oak tree. So under this tree, the Buddha, he moved from the Ajapalanigroda or banyan tree. The Buddha went there, sat under the Indian oak tree or Majulinda tree. So he remained in the happiness of nirvana for 7 days, and he, while he sitting there, and he uttered the words, said that peace and tranquility is the happiness of those people who can see the Dharma, and being pleased with beings in the quiet place and realize what they are in reality. He does not exploit other living beings. He is devoid from sense desire. He is happy. The absence of asamimana. Asamimana means the belief that uh, I am me and you, and it's kind of an ego, and is a cause of extreme happiness. So abandon or absent from asamimana is a cause to extreme happiness. So while he stayed utter this term under the Indian oak tree or Majalinda tree. So this is how the Indian oak tree look like. So at that time there was a we call a Majalinda. Is a Payanaga. Do you know Payanaga? Payanaga is like king. We call a snake. So Payanaga called Majalinda came out to water and wound or coil his long body round the Buddha for 7 times. And he spread his hoods above the Lord Buddha in above his head to protect him from the rain. And the cold wind for 7 days. Once the rain stopped, he transformed himself into a young man and came to pay homage in front of the Buddha. Now, while he's stating the words that mentioned above. So the 4th week, he spent another 7 days under the tree named Brajayadana. So under this tree, while he immersing the happiness of the nirvana, there was 2 merchant, the Kalawan merchant, and pass the place that he staying. So the 2 Kalavans named Tapussa and Balika saw the Buddha sitting under the Rajayadana tree, and they felt moved to offer him some dry rice powder and some dry rice ball. Okay, so and these 2 Kalawan merchant became the first 2 male lay devotee in Buddhism. At that time, the Buddha ate the fruit that offered by these 2 merchants, and afterward they fled to take the Buddha and Dharma as their refuge. So they take the Buddha, the Dharma. So this is the first time the first 2 lay devotee that take the Buddha and Dhamma as their refuge. So normally we have the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, but at that time there's no Sangha yet. So they take only like 2 gems, the Buddha and the Dhamma. So they are the first 2 Buddhist lay devotees in this Buddha eon. Before they took their leave, they asked the Lord Buddha for memento. So, and then the Buddha ran his right hand over his head, and edge of his hair, the color of immoral or green mussel, stuck to his hand and gave them to the merchant and to their acolyte. So that is the fourth week after he achieved enlightenment. So after that, he spent the rest of another 2 weeks on immersing his enlightenment, and by sometimes he practiced sitting meditation, sometimes he practiced walking meditation for another 2 weeks. And the last week of his enlightenment, he returned to the banyan tree, and he realized that the truth he which is mental knowledge attained through the process of self-enlightenment, can be seen by supernormal insight. So it is difficult. He thought it difficult to attain for general public, for the general people, because they are still immersed in sensual pleasure. So he felt inclined not to teach at the beginning. He find it, the Dhamma that he discover is very deep and is very profound. He thought it is difficult for general people who still immersed in the sensual pleasure. So at first he felt like declined not to teach anyone. But later on, he got the invitation from one of the Brahma beings who invited him to teach the people. So this Brahma named Mahapati so asked him to teach, and then the Buddha considered that there are different type of people with their in different intelligence, and he compared to the people to the 4 different type of lotus. And the first type of lotus is a lotus which rise above the water, will certainly bloom as soon as the sun shine on it. And second is the lotus bud below water surface will bloom on the morrow. And the third lotus, at the lotus bud below the water surface will bloom sometime in the future. And the lotus in mud would become food for fish, and total would never bloom. So after considering, if you compare that's a different group of the people, it's like a different condition of their intelligence. And the first type of lotus that will open in the different condition. So comparing the beings that who has a light fashion, who have a less kilesa, who have a low kilesa, can and have a strong sense faculty, who have sattha or faith, who have virya, so effort, who have sati mindfulness, who have samadhi concentration, and who have panya or wisdom, would be able to accept or learn the Dhamma and understand the Dhamma immediately. They can learn and understand quickly if they listen to the Dhamma. So this is comparing to the first type of the lotus. That's they're already above the surface of the water and just waiting for the sunshine. And when they receive the Dhamma, or when the sun came out, they just like bloom right away. And the second group of the people is the people that have the medium quality, were trained in practice as a primary parts, and still they have strong innate collectors. They can attain enlightenment as well. So this group of people they may not blooms maybe quickly or right away, but this could take time. It's like the second type of lotus that's will that they still can achieve enlightenment, but just need to take time and practice. And the third type of third group of the people, the people who have a weaker quality or without any innate collector. So should receive the basic Dharma in order to support their innate collectors. So this group of people, they can accumulate and new innate collector or accumulate the palami. And it could take longer time to accumulate the sense of faculty, and they will be able to achieve enlightenment in the future. So the Dharma or the teaching that could give benefits and be useful for every kind, every group of the people, except those people who are not ready to receive the teaching. Like comparing like the fourth kind of lotus that's still in the mud. They will become the fruits of the fit and total. It's like they cannot learn, they cannot listen. So to the Dharma. So this is the how the Buddha considered before he decided to teach the Dharma, to propagate the Dharma. So after considering that he decided to teach the people, now he consider who is the first person, the group of the people who should learn and who can easily understand the Dharma that he discovered. First, he thought of his own master, the Alala Dabasa and Utukada Dabasa. But by his supernormal insight, he knew that these two teachers just passed away. And the Alala Dabasa just passed away just 7 days ago after he enlightenment. So, and the Uduka Dabasa just passed away recently. So he just turned his intention to another group of the people that he thought of the Panchavakkhiya, the five ascetic that used to serve him while he was practicing the self-mortification. So he realized that this group of people, they have less kilesa and they have been practicing for a long time. So it would be easy for them to be able to understand the teaching. So then he take a journey to the deer park or Vanasi to preach the Panchavakkhiya. So when he arrived there, the Panchavakkhiya they saw that the Buddha is coming from a distance with his glorious brightness of his passionate. So they have no idea about his self-enlightenment, but thought that since the Lord Buddha no longer practiced self-mortification, they would not welcome him. So they made an agreement, and that if so they saw him coming far away. So they all five make an agreement that we will not we will not welcome him. Just like prepare the seat, and if he want to sit, just let him sit. But if he don't want to, just let him go or something. So after making an agreement, and the Buddha came close, and all of them just forgot the agreement that they made. So sums up some of them just came and carry and received the bowl from him, and some just received the robe, and some just prepared the seat for him, and some took the water and to clean his foot. Yeah. So, but still, yeah, these five ascetic um, also uh, address, an appropriate term, an appropriate word. That's called avuso, which is the state of when one address someone who have a lower status, or who are younger. So avuso, the term avuso in Thai culture, actually, we usually state or calling a person who are mature, who are older. But in this term, is used to state or call someone who is younger at that time. So, so when the five ascetic address that he is avuso, is the younger, and the Buddha just forbade them that not to say so, and told them that now he already achieved enlightenment. I'm already the enlightenment of the Buddha. And the ascetic, if Panchavakkhiya did not believe that what he said, and just address Avuso Gotama. They just said that Avuso Gotama, you want practice self-mortification to the fullest extent and still could not achieve meditative attainment. Now what you have stopped, how could you have achieved any meditative attainment at all? So they just still have a doubt that the Buddha truly achieved enlightenment or not. Then the Buddha asked them that if he had ever said anything that was not true in all time that they had been together, this caused the five ascetic become interested in what the Buddha had to say, but told them to wait until tomorrow. So the Buddha just told them that have I said anything like this before? While I practice self-mortification, self-mortification, and the five ascetic just answered, no, we have never heard. Then that's made the five ascetic interested in what he's going to teach them. So the first sermon, the teaching, the first teaching of the Buddha. So it happened at the Isipatana. Isipatana Mikataya is a forest. So it's a district of Bana Varanasi city. And he went there and to visit a group of these five ascetic. So after that, the Buddha he started to teach them the first sermon called the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutra. So in the teaching of this sutra is about what is the Buddha starts to mention about what he achieved. So he started to mention that the monk should not practice or conduct into extreme way. First is the extreme of sensual indulgence, and second is the extreme of self-mortification. Which is two of these extremes will never lead to enlightenment. And he showed the middle way. That he mentioned that the monk should go on the middle way, the Noble Eightfold Path, and consisting of right understanding, or right understanding or right view,
right thought, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right efforts, right mindfulness, and right concentration. So this is one of the in the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutra that the Buddha taught the five ascetic. So in detail, in the first teaching, this is mentioned about the core teaching of the Buddha, mentioned about the Four Noble Truths. And number one is dukkha, a dukkha or suffering, namely birth is suffering, old age is suffering,
So Pajan,
sickness is suffering.
could you bigger the slideshow? It's quite small.
Ah, sorry. So maybe we can zoom in. Is it clearer now?
Can you switch to the slideshow? It is like right now we have like the multiple slide.
Ah, I see. So maybe we can stop from this.
Okay. Yep. Okay.
Can I clearer
Good.
now?
Yes. Yes. Yep.
Okay, thank you, Ajahn. All right, so this is about the Four Noble Truths. So the Buddha start to address about the core the teaching that he discovered from his practice. Start from the dukkha, means suffering, aging, disease, and death. And and the cause of the suffering that he taught is called samudaya, cause of the suffering. And third is nirodha, cessation of suffering, or the end of suffering. And fourth is magga, path leading to the cessation of suffering. So he mentioned the dukkha or suffering. One should it should be understood. And samudaya, cause of suffering, namely like we call tanha, tanha or self-centered desire. Now one should abandon the cause of suffering. That is tanha. Should abandon tanha. And third is nirodha. One should realize. One should realize. And magga or the path, the Noble Eightfold Path, is a dharma that one should develop. And the Noble Eightfold Path is one should develop. And while the Buddha was teaching, preaching that the Brahma named Kodanya had got the eye of truth. So he achieved the first step, state of the enlightenment. He achieved this Sotapanna. And the Buddha knew that the Kodanya had got the eye of truth, or Dhammacakku, the eye of truth. So he exclaimed that Kodanya has to know, Kodanya has to know. So because of this acclamation, in Pali is called the Anyasi Kotanyo. So from then on, he was called as Anya Kodanya because that time after he got the eyes of truth. So Kodanya asked for becoming a monk in Buddhism, and he was admitted to be a monk by the Buddha's speech. And Buddha just ordained with a very short word, please go on the holy life to finalize suffering on the right way. And Kodanya ordination was completed by that Buddha speech. After that, the Buddha has lived in the Isipatana Mikataya forest and taught another 4 samana another for the rest of the five yogi. So in a various dharma suitable for their disposition, Vappa, Patiya, and Vappa and Patiya got the eyes of truth and then ordained together. Now, later, Mahanama and Asachi had got the eyes of truth and then ordained together. So then all four Samana ordained in the same way as the Gotanya. So group of five Samana attained the final state of holiness, Arahanta. So when or the deep enlightenment. So when the five monks, as a disciple and had faculty such as confidence that were strong and suitable to practice insight meditation for deliverance. On the fifth day of wandering monk, or month, so this month, waxing monk. So the Buddha gave them a sermon or the another sutra. It's called the Anatta Lakkhana Sutra. Anatta means non-self. Talking about the non-self states, which is could be some summarily said, Rupa is about the five aggregate. Rupa or corporeality, Vedana sensation or feeling, Rupa. Sanya or perception, and perception, Sankhara, mental formation, Vijnana, consciousness. So were no self. So this is the core, the main concept about the Anatta Lakkhana Sutra, mentioned about the five aggregate that's not self or anatta. So it cannot be order, cannot be order, or it's uncontrollable. So just let it be like this or don't be like this. So it is not in our control. This thing happened because of causality. And the Buddha asked the five samatha whether Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, and Vijnana were permanent, permanence or impermanence, or happy or suffer. And then the five ascetic answer is impermanence, suffering, and non-self. So the Buddha hereby told them to leave the holding fast, to detach. It's should to detach from this Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, and Vijnana, to regard the intellectually according to the fact that it's not ours. So it's non-self. And it's not. So while the Buddha was teaching the Anatta Lakkhana Sutra, the mind of the five samana has gone on Dhamma states of the Dhamma, being preached, and they was free from mental obsession and grabbing. At that time, there were 6 arahanta in the world, include the Buddha and the Panchavakkhiya. So that is the overall chapter, chapter 6, about the after the Buddha, the first periods of the Buddha enlightenment. So in conclusion for this chapter, so there's a important part of in the Buddhist history about how the Buddha Sasana is complete. There in this teaching, they are the Buddha. There is the Buddha, there is Dharma or the teaching, and there's all there is the follower. So this complete the triple gem, the Buddha, the Dharma, and Sangha. So in Buddhist, in Buddhism in Thai, so we consider people celebrate in this day, in the day that the Buddha he first gave the sermon. It's called the Asa and Asalaha Bucha. Asalaha Bucha. That is the day that the Buddha first gave the first teaching, and there was a first follower, the first disciple that's arise in the world. All right, so now for the Q&A, anyone would like to share from your opinion for this chapter after the slides?
Can I have one question, please?
Oh, please, on young one.
Yeah. Just can you give us some kind of timelines of the events? After the Buddha's enlightenment, there were 7 days of certain period, and another 7 days, another 7 days of doing certain things. Just like that, the time he spent with the teachers at the beginning stage. Then later on, when he went ascetic life with self-mortification, this bit how roughly, I guess there is no exact date for that. So roughly how many months or how many years for this period? You have that kind of record?
So before cheap enlightenment, so this is year 6 of his practicing, So after he leaves the palace, so that's after that is 6 years, and this is the year 6, and it's and now he is 35 years old. So he left the palace at the age of 29, and now he's 35. So he achieved enlightenment at the age of 35. And in this chapter, it's mentioned about the after he achieved enlightenment as a new Buddha. He just spends maybe It mentioned it's 7 weeks. And the first week is 7 days. And that's mentioned in the chapter, the first chapter, under the trees and different trees, and then at the last week he come back to the banyan tree, and to make a decision considering about the Dharma and comparing about the teaching that he's going to teach a different group of the people based on their intelligence. So that is I think we can scope the timeline from this part. All right. So is that make sense? or young one?
Okay. So in the sutra, in any text, there is no clear indication like he spent maybe 3 years with the teachers, or 3 months, or 4 years with self-mortification.
In this part, I think we have to look in more detail. Maybe if we look into the detail and in this Dhamma lesson, we cannot cover all the detail during the time of 6 years. Actually, there's a lot of things that's happening, So he tried many ways. It's not only about he don't he didn't practice only the extreme asceticism, but also many other way that he tried during his practice of 6 years. So one of the sutra that I heard from the history of the Buddha, from the Buddha words, mentioned that sometimes he spent he lived alone in the graveyard, in the reed forest, and when people come, he just like escape from one forest to another forest, to avoid people. Sometimes he also practiced like a Shainism. He just took off all his clothes. He didn't wear clothes at all, And sometimes he said meditation, and there are also children who come to play with him, and use a stick and put inside his ear, So in this, I think detail in before and he achieved enlightenment. I think we can take a look more detail in the sutra. So this is just about the we call briefly. So in detail about during the 6 years. I think there's a lot more detail how he practiced and different type of not only a extreme ascetic practice. Like when he fasting and trying to torture one's own body. In this part, I think we can take a look more in Tipitaka. I think there's this mention about this detail. Yeah. All right. So any other parts that's could be missing for this session? Okay, Echo.
I have a
would you like to
question.
share, please?
Yeah, because something that is new to me or was new to me is that I thought the daughters of the Mara, that they would appear to him before he get enlightened. But here in your slide, it was like already after he was enlightened, right? Like after the first week, if I got that right, then those daughters appeared.
Yes.
But when he is already a Buddha, so I think this Mara strategy is not good. And when he is already a Buddha, it makes no sense to turn this back. So how can the daughters have an effect on the Buddha? And then my thought further was, can we say that there is during those 7 weeks that maybe there was like an increasing of his Buddhaship, maybe because there are some like Pacceka Buddhas, right? They are only enlightened, but they cannot teach. Maybe after he's enlightened, he was like first like a Pacceka Buddha, and he needed this 7 weeks in dwelling to become like a Buddha to teach other persons, or?
So in this point, I think that could be a significant event, the guarantee that he's completely pure from the fashion, So that's the daughter of the Mara couldn't distract him, whether how hard he tried to lure him, So because that's his mind's already completely pure. So
So it was more like they check him about, is he really a Buddha already or not? Yeah, not trying to convince him to get back, maybe trying, but then they check, they test, and they see, okay, there no chance. This is a Buddha.
Yes. So
Okay.
so the daughter of the Mara, according to the history, it mentioned that they thought that no matter how great the man is, there must be because have a temptation in certain way by the woman, But this guys, and it mentioned that there's many different form of the woman that is trying to lure the Buddha. But there's no any form, Some they just made themselves like a young they're like girls and very young, and some are like a woman who already have a husband, and sometimes they describe themselves as a woman who have children already. So they thought that different men have different interests in women, but the Buddha have not of this thing. So that's another evidence, true guarantee that he is enlightened. So that's why they just fail, and it's no use for them to bring the Buddha back to the world of Kilesa.
Okay.
Satu.
May I have another question, please?
Please, Ho Young.
Yeah. This is about the concept of middle way. Buddha's Dhamma is called midway. So actually that causes lots of discussion, lots of confusion to a certain degree. So now we are talking about one side is like extreme pleasure, the sensual, just seek the pleasure of the sensual senses. The other side is just self-mortification. So if we are talking about the middle way, logically, it could be maybe 40% of senses, 60% of self-mortification, or this is the two components, sense pleasure and the away from sense pleasure. These are the two components. Find the middle ground. That is a logical way of thinking. So when in a daily life discussion, people usually say middle way automatically leads to middle point, certain somewhere in between. But what is being discussed by Buddha is a completely different one. He viewed the world as full of dukkha. Then what's the reason for that happening? So is there any other way? So what's the way to get out of this suffering? So this is not talking about the two extremes in the middle. So it looks like completely different way. This is soul way. So yeah, this is kind of why it is called a middle way between the two. Yes, yeah.
So I think the concept of middle way, I think the Buddha he already clarified now what is the middle way. So I think middle way is a concept of balancing, but it's not about the individual opinion. And the Buddha show in detail in the two affordable truths. It's the Magga, the Noble Eightfold Path, and we can consider based on the Noble Eightfold Path from right understanding. And what is right understanding or right view? And what is right thought or right intention? So that's the beginning. This right view or right understanding is understanding along with the nature, the nature of reality as it is. So that is the beginning of the concept of the middle way. It starts from the right view, the right in seeing things as they are, and leading to right thoughts, right intention, leading to right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. So that is what the Buddha actually in detail about in the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta is very clarifying that what is right view, what is right understanding. He mentioned that right understanding is based on like understanding in the karmic law, the karmic law, the karma, and the concept of the Four Noble Truths. Everything happened is a causality, is causation. It's not based on our liking, disliking. I like, I don't like. I love, I don't love. But reality doesn't care. We like or don't like it. So this is the beginning of the middle way. They start seeing things that they are and leading to the right intention to no harm, intention to avoid from evil. So when one has the right understanding, right view, seeing the results of the causality, so one will avoid from that bad action and change oneself, falling in the way. And that's the action come, the morality, the speech, telling lie, one should avoid. This kind of thing will follow, leading to precept, right action, like abstain from killing, abstain from stealing, abstain from sexual misconduct. So this is a practical part, leading to from mentality to action. And that thing is required the mentality that need the efforts, needs mindfulness, and need the concentration to be able to see the problem that, oh, this is not the right way, it's the wrong way. So that's why the Noble Eightfold Path, so if we consider carefully, is supporting one another is equally important. So when these Noble Eightfold Paths unite and become one, and that is the concept of middle way. There's maybe people who may not have never heard about the concept of the middle way in Buddhism. They may think that middle way is a balancing. So that is the what's most of people think about how to live one own life balance. But this is the detail that the Buddha shown that this is the middle way. It's not our way, That my way is not what I think. Many people think, oh, this is what I'm thinking is the right way. So and actually, that's I think the Buddha showed us very clear on the concept of the middle path.
Sadhu.
Sadhu. All right. So any more question for this chapter? So what about the Anatta Lakkhana Sutra? That's even much more profound teaching. It's mentioned about the three characteristic of the universe, about the anatta. That's the concept of change and the concept of impermanent, concept of dukkha or suffering, and the concept of non-self. So if one have the wisdom to realize that actually there's no such a term ego or I and me, you and you. Buddha mentioned that this kind of view is still a wrong view. So and the beginning of attachment is come from the wrong view to ourselves. We see that this body is mine. This thought is what we can control. But Buddha mentioned it's ultimately it's uncontrollable. The body change, and get old, whether we want it or we don't want it, and it's going with the natural process. Sometimes body get ill, get sick. We don't want it, and definitely death. So that is when one start to seeing the natural process that it is. So the acceptance, understanding will happen. And this level is required the practice and training from this sila, from the morality, from the meditation, and from the insights or wisdom.
So with that one, just the the session we just had before. So Buddha started preaching. So he had talked to 5 people. Then on the 5th day, he taught that sermon about the 5 egregores. So within this period, all of them were fully kind of understood what Buddha said, what the Dhamma is, so kind of enlightened.
Mm-hmm.
Then the 5th day, they heard this another sutra about anatta.
Uh-huh.
Then they become, so it happened on a very short period, five days.
So from day by day, they all at the end, they all achieve the arahanthood at the same time. But the first person who understood the Dharma, who having the eyes of Dharma, so we call Dhammacakkhu. So we call Sotapanna, who can see the truth, but not completely. So in the different level of achieved enlightenment, we call there's divided in 4 different states. Sotapanna, the first level of achieved enlightenment. Anakami, Sakadagami is the second level, Anakami the third, and Alahanda is a full enlightened. So they go from state by state, and the first the first samana that achieved enlightenment, that's Godanya. And later on the Buddha teach another repeating same teaching, and the other 2, and maybe the second day, and then followed by the others. And at the end, it's like a come to conclusion. The Buddha taught about the Anattalakkana Sutra, and all of them were achieved enlightenment. All right. So anybody have any question or anything that you would like to share on this? How do we still have time? First type of lotus. A devotee. All right, so I think it's a appropriate time for our class for today, this week. So next week we are moving on to another chapter, chapter number chapter 7. So it's going to be the different important events, how the Buddha he start to propagate the teaching, and how when he met a different group of the people, and how he separate, like he did where he start, now he start to go to teach the Panchavakkhi, the 5 ascetic. So for the next chapter, so we're going to talk about another spiritual leader that's a very influential, people are very respected, and how the Buddha teach him, and later become his follower. So all right, so if there's no more question, okay, so let us call today. Okay, so let us now pay respect to the Triple Gem. Arahang Samma Sambuddho Bhagava Buddhang Bhagavantang Abhivademi Asawakhato Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammang Namasami Supatipanno Bhagavato Sāvaka Saṅkho Saṅghang Namami. Okay, see you next Saturday.
Sadhu.